Channel switched.
Captured Zone A. You lost Zone C. You captured Zone C.
Quickly! I need help!
Talents run for our skills!
You lost Zone A. You lost Zone C.
That was smartly done.
captured Zone C. You lost Zone A. You captured Zone A.
Your companion needs help!
You lost Zone A. You lost Zone C. You captured Zone A. You captured Zone C. You lost Zone A. You lost Zone C. You captured Zone A. Sudden death.
Our ally has been killed!
captured Zone A, Zone C. You captured Zone C. You lost Zone C. You lost Zone A. Captured Zone A. You captured Zone C. You lost Zone C. Zone A. You lost Zone A.
Okay. User joined your channel.
Yeah, Jibs. Jibs, you there?
So what call me?
Yeah, I thought man was playing saying.
I was playing that thing game, but then I get up.
Okay.
That better game. What name? For
For
Honor.
Honor?
Yeah.
Oh.
But then
Yeah,
I
like
get in
Lee.
my bedroom.
I was like, that's like Lee. They started to play the tutorials. This is very strange.
You don't play bad though.
You gotta play with
But
a
to me,
control.
to me, it's easy to play with a control. Yeah, cause the buttons got used to do certain things. It's enough control. It's usually analog sticks enough.
Yeah, I realized that I could tell you to do things with the mouse, and I feel weird doing it on the
Right.
mouse.
So it's best to use a control. I want a wheel though. How much you got? Here you got two.
I don't have to. I have 1.5.
What happened to the half? What the half need?
I have pedals and let's call it steering. Me pedals and gearbox.
But no steering column, steering wheel.
Yeah, the fellow steering I should say give me the pedals I think for free.
Alright, I want bar in
So
there.
I
I can get a wheel.
no
Why not?
no that spare got apparently my gearbox wasn't working properly at Animacon, so I got checked it
Well,
now.
switch boxes. Give me pedal. I don't need. I don't need box. I can use paddle shift. I
I
want
don't think
pedals.
about it.
I want pedals. Be. I see they sell like parts on Lingua. Like things separate.
Yeah, but that hard you can't get the wheel or anything so no more.
But why not cost $1,000 US? I don't understand. Why the price so hot on eBay?
Was it toasted?
$1,299 for a G27B. I don't understand that.
Because the new wheels out.
I don't understand. So the older ones just cost more money?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's no like there's no real difference to the wheels besides a couple of features that can cost more. With the G27, the only difference between 9 and 29 is the buttons on it, and yeah, just the buttons on it.
Big, but that making any sense? Why would the old system cost more than the new one? That does not make any sense.
I know.
I just seen prices hot.
Because I was gonna buy a replacement gearbox, and then I realized the prices of the gearbox gone up because it's the same gearbox you could use on the new with the new control with the new wheels, and so that's what it costs so much
So
money.
G29 any good?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It just got extra buttons on it. One second,
Oh,
1 second.
I didn't got a gear shift.
Yeah, it got gear shift, but you got to buy you got to buy it separate.
But that's what I mean.
I think it's like it comes with like 50 US or something. So
This doesn't look bad, you know.
just that the gear shift don't got the buttons on it, like how the G27 got the buttons on it.
Gear shift had buttons, but I don't remember that.
You remember on the G25 where we had the option to lock
Oh,
the
you make it,
to lock the from H
sequential
to
or H pattern.
right. I did man that when I took out the had like the control pad
Oh yes,
and the
yes,
other
yes.
buttons
I remember.
right.
Yeah.
Them buttons, all them buttons gone.
Mm. Let's see a man. Let's see he buy one from here for $600 flat.
The new one
Yeah,
or the old
G29.
one?
Yeah,
We get that from?
some computer store. Which very strange because the man selling price is $399 US.
Those selling on Black Friday for 2 something.
Oh, I want to be able to do it.
Too enough, not too little.
I installed Project Cars the other night.
Hold on a second, James.
Oh.
User joined your channel.
Yeah.
Come on, wheel, man. I got
What,
project
what
cars,
game?
yo.
Oh, where you get that from?
Steam, B.
Got a special on it again?
Yeah, 17 is get,
Cause it good already. I just wanted, I wanted DLCs, but I didn't buy it.
is get all, I think you get all DLCs for 10 or something, or 7. Yeah, sure, man.
He deal gone. Cause I
I
ain't
can
seen
check,
it.
I can check now.
That had a midweek offer.
It's still there? Wait, hold on.
Feel I got Project Cars already, so.
Yeah, price gone up though. Cause it gone up to 20 US now.
Mm. Give me your edition, that's the only buy.
Yeah. And it come with 13 DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the main time they can get this weekend, but then what a luck, no.
Cause you worst person about telling people what deals be gonna let people know early.
We only see it
Got it, but
last night before, sorry.
that's be on Steam, so that's our price on TV.
Mommy gone in the bathroom, I think.
Yes, I have to buy to play that way.
Mommy come here? I want to find some proper settings for it though, like, key control.
Oh, I know that. Alright, now the trade is far ordered. Really control.
Mommy come in. Ho ho ho. I buy a G 502 boy.
Yeah,
You got that too?
that the Xbox one.
What's the Xbox one? What about?
502.
What about
Oh,
mouse, B?
502 is the mouse.
Oh,
Yeah, I got
mouse,
that.
yeah.
I got one of them. First I tell you stuff about the
What you
G,
forget?
the other wheel. The other wheel is the Xbox, so the G29 is the G29 is the
PlayStation.
PS4 one, and then they got one for the Xbox, which is G4 something. I can't remember. So,
For the man, I met no specific for PC.
all of them is work on PC.
I should met one that marked PC.
Was the point? When all two could work.
I want to see the PlayStation there for my system B.
Get Microsoft Xbox.
I ain't searching Craigslist.
Here, not trying this game on the controller because I can't play this on the mouse. Thing feels so weird.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah, eat me.
Laziness. Forget. Hmm. Hmm. Alright, Scott will go. Getting too tired?
Well, yeah, ain't bad.
Yeah, enough of a butt, but ain't bad.
Yeah, that part. It better. Sorry, I mean as in terms it better know with the
Control.
controller.
Oh. I ain't looking on Craigslist for a keyboard.
What's going on, everyone? Jay's 2 cents. Found on the ICX actually has these holes drilled all the way through it, which allow air to kind of escape through the heatsink going sideways, as well as moving air through it. So it's supposed to give a little bit more efficient cooling capability and also a little bit more efficient airflow. And trust me when I say that you can indeed feel the air coming off the back of the card, especially when it's under load, more so than I could with the back of this card, which is completely solid and blocked off. Air can't really get out the sides very well at all. Now, underneath the heatsink is also a very different design when it comes to the base plate. The VRM is definitely a forethought when it comes to cooling, because now you have these sort of heat spires, we'll call them. It's not really a heat sink, but they're definitely heat spires. They're designed to pull heat through the plate, get it up into the airflow, and give you better VRM cooling. Now, EVGA's solution to the thermal issue was by putting heat pads between the heat sink and the top of the base plate, which does indeed touch the VRM. It's just it didn't have anything on top of the base plate to dissipate the heat. So the thermal pads, though, did increase the cooling efficiency quite a bit. But the problem is the heat sink that it's touching is not flat on the bottom, it's pointy. So there's a lot less surface area that could have been there in the first place. So what EVGA did on the ICX cooler was they sort of bent the fins to make them a little bit flat, so where it actually touches the thermal pad is giving you much more efficient transfer of heat now. Also too, the heat sink that's directly on top of the GPU, the bottom of that was completely flat and closed off. Well, now they actually have 50% of airflow that can actually travel through that and get down to the base plate as well, which gives you much better cooling for the memory. So it's quite a bit different on the heat sink, although it looks very similar on the surface. Now, moving on to the back of the graphics card, you can see the original backplate was a very nice piece of machined aluminum. It had some vents where it mattered, but again, where the back of the VRMs were was also a vent. It didn't have the greatest contact in mind when it came to the backside of the power delivery. Now remember, heat radiates in multiple directions, not just one direction. So heat coming off the back of the card was also an afterthought. So what they've done is they actually created a bit of a heat sink built into the backplate, which is separate down the middle, so you don't get as much heat contamination from the GPU side of things moving over to the VRM side. So obviously it's working with that very defined limitation of heat transfer from the VRM. Now, before I talk about temperatures, let's talk about my testing methodology. I use an open air test bench because I want the only factor on the temperature of the graphics card to be the cooler itself. There's no way I could put any case on here that's going to account for all real-world scenarios. So right now, the only factor on what the temperatures are on the graphics card are what the limitations of the cooler itself are. So I'm not going to address any of the open air test bench comments in this video. You guys can go and check out this one up here. I actually tested open air test bench versus a closed case with the same GPU to see what the differences are. You can have the conversation over there if you want it. Now, on the flip side, having an open air test bench actually makes negative results when it comes to things like backplate testing and seeing if this new backplate design is going to be efficient, because there is zero airflow happening over the backplate. There's no case fans moving air. Usually your case fans are blowing directly on your GPU, especially if you have a side case fan. So that was something to keep in mind. So I did do testing without any airflow, and then I also tested with a fan on there to see what the differences would be. So now with all of that out of the way, let's talk about how well this design really works. Now with the new Precision X, you can actually monitor power delivery, GPU temperature, and memory temperature. So you have full control over what's going on in your system. And you can actually set temperature indicators where you can change the color of those LEDs to kind of tell you what's going on at a glance if you can see your graphics card through your window. If you don't want those on, just set the color to black and they won't even be there. Now at idle, we were seeing power delivery temperatures sitting in the mid-30s. Perfectly acceptable, it's where I would expect it to be. But once I put it under load, we saw temperatures go up into the low 70s, which sounds like a lot, but MOSFETs are typically rated up to something like 120 C, so we are
Drink from me, drink from me. Never should have get symphony. So I never should have drunk from me.
Oh, angels sent from up above. You know you make my world light up. When I was down, when I was hurt, you came to lift me up. Life is a drink and love's a drug. Oh, now I think I must be my years up. When I was a river dried up, you came to rain and flood. I said, drink from me, drink from me. When I was so thirsty, put on a symphony. No, I just can't get it up. Put your wings on me, wings on me. When I was so heavy.
Will running with a high-end racing wheel truly make you a better driver? Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that. Welcome to the Sim Racing Paddock. I'm your host, William Marsh, and it is a great time to be a sim racer right now. We are truly spoiled for choice in the many different ways we can enjoy our hobby. We have the low-end entry-level offerings such as the Thrustmaster T80 and the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel. We have the hotly contested mid-range market with offerings from Logitech, Thrustmaster, and Fanatic. And also, we are seeing the high-end sim racing market become more accessible than ever. And we are seeing offerings from Leo Bonar's Sim Steering. We are seeing the Sim Experience AccuForce wheel. And also, we're seeing an emergence in the Open Sim wheel where dedicated racers are building their own high-end wheel at a fraction of the cost of other wheels. Now, recently, my buddy Sean Cole at the Sim Pit posted his review of the Sim Steering 2 force feedback system, which is definitely a great watch. I highly recommend that to anyone that is even interested in a high-end market wheel. I want to touch on a couple points about I highly recommend that to anyone that is even interested in a high-end market wheel. I want to touch on a couple points about the high-end wheel and clear up a couple of things that I feel are being taken as undeniable truths in this world. One of those that people are stating is if you have a direct drive
like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Broken glass everywhere, people on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window.
Okay, well, Boz Luhrmann had called the office and asked, would it be okay for me to assist him in this television series? And, you know, so I went to go meet with him, E, and he says, Flash, anything that you did as far as your career is concerned, when you started making records and all that stuff, I don't want to know about that. I want to know about the organic years when you were just doing this in the streets, you know, for no money, for nothing. And so, I looked at him like, why? Why do you want to do this? He says, Flash, I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. And he says, you guys had nothing. And you guys, with nothing, created something that is now $1 billion industry. You know, no PC, no Mac, no internet, no Twitter, no Facebook, no
User
Instagram,
joined your channel.
no studios, no clubs, no technical, nothing. Just duplicate copies of records, 2 turntables, and a mixer. Pretty much is where it started.
If you haven't watched Get Down on Netflix, there's an actual scene where the character that is Grandmaster Flash comes and a character by the name of Shaolin is trying to study what you do. Yeah. And you walk in and you teach them a piece of the theory. Yeah. How true is that scene?
That scene is actually true, and I'm going to demonstrate it as we go on with the program here. First thing I'm going to do is just play some songs. Like my son Keith over here, like I used to argue with him. He say, so-and-so got this new record out, and it sounds like this, and I would say, son, the real sample is this. And he'd be like, it's this new guy. I would say, Keith, here's the sample, and here's the record.
It's been done.
You know, and I want to, before I get into some other things, I kind of want to just play some samples of some 70s music, because the 70s is where people need to understand this is where this whole hip-hop culture really started.
What was happening musically that pushed yourself, Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, Bambaataa? What was happening in the Bronx musically and in the world musically that pushed you guys in this direction?
I think for us, since we had no technical nothing, the search was to find that drum beat, that breakdown, that drum solo. So we searched for the drum solo in pop, rock, jazz, blues, funk, disco, R&B, alternative. Anything with a drummer had a solo. That was actually the mission. And there was times I got up early in the morning, like 9 o'clock in the morning, and went record shopping and didn't get home until 10 o'clock at night, and had an arm full of records, just going through all these different genres of music, trying to find that break.
But why? What was the break being used for? Like, what was happening? Why did you need it?
At this time, what I noticed was this. When you hear a song, you'll dance, but when a drummer did that solo thing for a couple of seconds, your body got more active. And for me, when I heard that part was so short, I was so pissed off. I'm like,
oh, hell no.
Why is this, what is the rest of the bullshit? So I started calling the rest of the song the whack part. You know, so for me...
Oh, back to the whack part again.
So for me, you know, I used to watch, you know, there was house parties in my house, and I would see people dancing, and I noticed when a drummer had that little solo for a couple of seconds, the body would get more reactive. So I said to myself, there has to be a way for me to take this incredible part. And that's when the mission began, you know, on full investigation on the stylist, full investigation on the wafer, is what I called it. And before, you know, now it's called the slip mat, you know, and then the torque theory, you know, the muscle on how the platter spins, and all the sciences that went with it. I just kind of just went into, I approached this thing like math and science, like the computation that I have behind me.
And you're going to explain all that today.
I'm going to explain all that, you know, and I wanted to explain this decades and decades ago, but decades and decades ago, you know, if you was a geek, that wasn't cool. It's cool to be a geek today, you know, so power to the geeks. Geek Day. We're going to do that.
Grandmaster Flash, I've known him about 20 years of my life at this point. Super nerd. And he's going to show you all of the nerdy things that went into him studying and creating the thing we call hip-hop. Mike, go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'd just like to add that for 3 years I lost my best friend because, like, you know, we was together every day. But when he went into this full geek mode, I would come to the house. Flash, we going to the park. You coming? I'll be right there. And he'll never show up. And that went on for like 3 years where he just turned into a hermit, and he was in the house being involved with these turntables.
And how old were you guys?
I was 16, 17. I'll be
15, 16.
I'm almost 60 now. So,
well, let's.
It's been a long time.
So you're going to start off, Flash, by just showing us some of the important records at the beginning when hip hop was being created.
Exactly. Like what I want to really explain to people is, I need the young people to understand that there was a beginning to this wonderful culture as well. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play some 70s music. And I'm going to play a little before it, then I'm going to play the part that was looped or sampled. And then I'm going to turn into a sample a little later on. So should we start now?
It's on you. It's your show.
Okay.
Flash.
Yeah, though, Jizz, this game ain't for me.
What happened?
They're struggling here in practice mode just to play the game.
You serious? Yeah, you soft, bro. You gotta be soft.
No, I'm playing the practice mode where it's actually like it's being the mission.
Man, you gotta go and play multiplayer, be that reaction is.
Real good 70s music.
You get
Come on,
multiplayer yet?
Now, hold it.
You know that part. You made all this. Real good 70s music. Perhaps some of these songs that I'm playing for you right now, they might sound familiar. Some of the biggest hip-hop artists dug into that 70s pie. It's important that you know this.
Looking up the sleeve of confidence.
70s. I've been trying to tell journalists for a long time how important 70s music is. They looked at me like I had third eye or horns on my head. But 70s songs like this made some people pretty rich. Very important time. Been saying this for a long time. Real good disco record. But wait. But if you slow it down, sounds something like this. '70s music. It's the reason why it exploded like it did. And this one right here, one of the greatest hip-hop producers of our time. He did something real mean with this one. In my opinion, the incredible producers, Dre, Pete Rock, Timbaland, Scratch. Oh my goodness, there's so many. There's so many on my mind right now that I can't even think of it. Y'all know who you are. You guys took some of this music here and made it incredible hits. I love all you producers, man. Thank you.
Excuse me, Flash. Can you turn that off a minute for us, sir? Can you actually show them the way we did it back in the 70s?
So basically what you're saying to me is to lose the computer.
Lose the laptop. Lose all the extras. Like, take away the extras. And let's go back to the basics. 2 turntables, a mixer, and some wax. How's that? You feel like doing that right now?
Hey, bro.
Hey, listen, I'm learning. I'm loving. I'm honored to be here. Whatever you want to do.
Yo, I just happen to have a stack of wax.
You got a stack.
I got a stack of wax right here.
A whole bunch of wax.
Stack of wax. That's kind of fly. Stack of wax.
Stack of wax.
Oh, think about it.
Stack of wax.
You playing it?
Right now, I'm here watching a YouTube video of Grandmaster Flash.
Okay, so,
yeah.
Yo, Fame. Let me talk to people while we just kind of dismantle. So we're gonna lose the laptop.
So Flash, I don't also for the people watching this, you actually created something that made it easier to queue up what was coming next.
The single pole double throw, Ebro.
Okay.
Talk to him.
First things first. Let me just start with, like I was telling you earlier, when I wanted to take that drum section and extend it with duplicate copies of records,
there was a procedure that I had to go through. The stylus is in two classes. Let's put it this way. There's the, let's go to the board. Two classes of styluses.
Stylus is a needle, people.
It's the needle. One was called the elliptical. The other was called the conical. Now, the elliptical, when you look at it under a microscope, is built like a backwards J, right? And the conical was built like a nail. My quest was, while the platter was spinning clockwise, I had to have a needle that would stay inside the groove while I went counterclockwise. And although the width of the elliptical needle inside the groove was further from left to right, which meant the stereo spectrum overall would sound better, when I pulled the needle back, it kept sliding out of the groove. The conical, when that sat in the groove, although it sounded horrible, when I counterclockwise the vinyl while the platter was going clockwise, it hung inside the groove. That part was figured out. The next thing was, when you buy a turntable, you get this ugly piece of rubber. You know what I'm talking about? That
Of course, the rubber platter that comes with the turntable, yes.
That ugly pancake thing. So when I tried to put the record on it, I got too much drag, too much friction. So what I did was, my mother was a seamstress, God bless her dead. So I knew what polyester, silk, rayon, I knew all the materials because my mom made all our clothes. So I went to the material store and I started feeling all these different materials. And when I got to felt, I touched it and I put it on my fingertips, but the problem with felt was, if you have a piece of it, it's very limp. So what I did was I ran home and I got a copy of an album and I bought 2 pieces of the felt. And when my mother wasn't looking, I spray starched the felt until it became stiff. I called it a wafer. And the reason why I called it a wafer was because, you know, communion, when you go to church during Easter and you're online and you're going to the pastor and it gives you that little white thing that you got to eat, it's called a wafer. So that's what I called it. And then my mom's, whenever, you know, I had good grades, she used to bake cookies for us. So there was that wax paper that she used to use. So I cut out 2 pieces of that, and maybe 35 years later, they called it slip mat. I called it the wafer. That problem was solved.
Yeah. Now, so you're saying, let me just be clear here. You're saying, Flash, in addition to what you did for queuing and
well, he hadn't even got to the queuing.
We haven't got there yet.
He's on needle and slip mat.
But I'm just saying, so you're saying invented the slip mat.
Absolutely.
Okay, invented the slip mat.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Because that is, for anyone who doesn't know, that is, the slip mat is an essential cornerstone. In fact, when I got started DJing, I didn't know, because I grew up in the suburbs, I had no idea what you did, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't scratch for the first year. And then I realized, oh, you take off this nasty rubber platter and you replace it with, I had the slip mat on top of the nasty rubber platter. No!
Lose the rubber, slip mat only.
No,
Right.
you can't cue
Or
without
the
the slip
wafer.
mat.
The wafer.
So now, the other situation was the picking of the turntable. So I came up with something called the torque theory. Torque theory is when the platter is in a state of inertia, which is absolutely still, is I would put a pen Matter of fact, I'm gonna hold that off until later. We're gonna talk about that. I'll put a pen or whatever, and if that platter from the state of inertia was not at its fullest potential in a quarter of a turn, it was a horrible turntable. So there was turntables like I went through Fisher Price, Magnavox, early Thorens, early Pioneer, and it wasn't until I went to Vicmar, Hunts Point. So I went into the store and I told the salesperson, can you please pull that? There was this ugly gray looking turntable and it had like the mumps on the outside of it. And I says, is it possible, could you please pull that turntable out of the window so that I can check something I'm doing? Doing a science on turntable. So the salesman looked at me and said, what? So I repeated, can you please pull it out the window? I just want to feel the platter. He says, hold up, I'll be right back. And when he came back, he had 3 more salesmen and they were kind of surrounding me because they thought something was going to go down. I says, no, I'm doing some studies. So the salesman that I was conversing with says, let me go get somebody else. And what he did is he got the boss. His name was Victor. And I says to Victor, I'm doing a study on turntables. Would it be possible, can you please take that turntable out of the window? And I just want to just test something. He says, son, you look innocent enough. Sure. And when he pulled it out and he put it on the turntable, pulled the turntable on the table, Ebro, there was a little sticker on it. I had never heard of this turntable before. It was this turntable called Techniques. And the model number was SL23. It was a belt-driven turntable, and when I put a pen on it from the state of inertia, it went to full speed in a quarter of a turn. So, a horrible turntable will take a full turn before it's up to speed. So if I put the wafer on the platter and then the record on the wafer and try to go counterclockwise and let the record go, it would go. So that turntable didn't pass the test. So the Technics turntable passed the test. So those 3 things were solved. Then it was a problem of me being able to pre-hear the song in my ear before you could. So I remember when I was a kid, or if you're the kid and there's an adult in front of you and they want to play with you, they go, peekaboo, peekaboo. And so I use that as my title for what is called cueing, but I called it the peekaboo system. So the peekaboo system was this. I went to Radio Shack and I bought what is called a single pole double throw switch. Single pole double throw switch is this. When you activate it to the left, whatever is wired to that particular side of the switch will become active in your ear. And if you push it that way, vice versa. So what I did was I took the jack of the turntable and I cut it. And I put a 3rd jack on it, a 3rd wire, and I ran that wire through the left side of the switch so that when I click it over to the left, I'll hear it and you won't. And I did it to the right side as well. And then the output of the single pole double throw switch, I ran that to a small 8-10 watt amplifier, just enough to drive the headphone. So that when I was playing those super short beats that I was talking to you about, Ebro, that 10 seconds, now I can do this for 10 minutes. So then the quest for records became really important.
So Flash, really quick, what kind of nerding out were you doing?
Jesse last you play Snake?
Know what a single pool?
Snake? I can't remember what I.
Snake.
Oh, nah, Pit
Like, who were you as a kid to even know this?
That rough stuff inside my computer, boy.
Extremely poor, and I always had a
I don't care
fascination
Rocket League in the world
things
either.
that plugged into the wall.
Yeah, I got Pro Evolution
Figured
Soccer.
out that this thing done something. So what I would do,
Fox is still they still wait to run you some FIFA though?
Cars, or where people was throwing away their stereo equipment, and I would bring it into the house, or I would go to the stereo in the living room, take it apart, try to put it back together, became public enemy number one in my household. I was taking apart the hairdryer. I was taking apart the table radio. Like, I was on this quest to figure out how is it that you could plug these tiny slits into that tiny little thing and put this, I called it this disc with the black tunnels, and how could you put the arm on it and sound come out of this box? So there was a constant quest on why these things do what they do. And I cannot tell you how many times I got my ass kicked. You know, my sisters were all older than me. I was getting beat downs and the whole thing. But when I figured out the peekaboo system, now it was a matter of me just getting duplicate copies of the records. And this final stage was considered the major disrespect, the major violation of all. I used to watch DJs on how they handled Vinyl Rosenberg. They would handle it like it was a child, and they had this velvet brush, and they were kind of like wiping it. You know, I'm like, why are they doing that in that matter? And the way they used to put it back into the sleeve, super duper careful. So then I said to myself, that drum break is only 10 seconds. How do I do that? So what I did was I watched DJs, and I watched some of the bigs and some of the greats, I'll leave nameless. And I said, Mike, I can't go to these places anymore. Something's bugging me. Something's bugging me. And that's when I went in my bedroom, and I tried to split my time with my best friend, going out, hanging out with the chicks at the basketball court and doing this and that, and that, and that, and that. But after a while, like, this thing was in my head. So my audience became my miniature Doberman Pinscher named Caesar. And I can remember doing things and jumping around, and I was happy. It's almost like the dog was like, row, 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 like kind of like rocking with me. So when I figured out all these things, and I was absolutely sure of what I had, Mike had spent the night at my house. And I guess it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, Mike, get up, get up, get up. You need to see this thing that I'm doing. And DJs hated me for this because you are not supposed to put your fingertips on the body of the vinyl. Never, 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 ever. And putting a crayon mark on it was like desecration. Like, I remember going around trying to get jobs, Ebro, at the club, but the word already spread. This dude does something to vinyl, man, that's totally disrespectful. Nobody wanted to. Nobody.
He's drawing on the record.
nobody. It wasn't too really. I really got my first shot in playing in a club. Was this DJ named Reggie Wells, and he used to play at this club called 371, and that was the first time that I was able to play it in a club outside of the hip hop thing that I was doing, and putting my fingertips on the record. As I was telling you when I seen you at the concert, Ebro, is without realizing it, right? This quick mix theory is twofold. not only is it the sound source, but it doubles itself as today what we know is a controller. A controller that plays with time. So, once I figured out that I must put my fingertips on the record, and then probably the final stage of it all was taking the crayon and marking the area where the get down part lived. That was the first part. And then I had to come up with, okay, so if this is the block where the get down part lived, then we have to knock on his door and go inside. And this is what I was thinking. So this mark here is what I call the intersector. This is the intersector, and this is the circular. Today they call it cue points. And how it works, Ebro, is this. Four bars forward equals 6 counterclockwise revolutions equals full loop. This is the basics, the fundamentals.
I don't know.
To the quick mix theory. When I figured this out, that you are playing this like an instrument, this theory is now the basic formula to today what is known as turntablism, because it is totally impossible to do the things that you do without your finger on the fader and the vinyl at the same time. Some do it amazingly crazy today and powerful and make amazing music with it. They're playing it like an instrument. But the Ebro, you also have to understand, this is why I said this when I seen you. It also is arguably the actual beginning of what is known today as rap. Because it is impossible for the MC to tell their story on top of the verse and the chorus and the bridge and all the singing. They need a complete bed of music. And back then, there was no computers, no PC, no Mac, no social media, no studio, no nothing. It had to be done with just 2 copies of vinyl.
And Flash, we talk about that often, how there was a DJ, there was graffiti, and there was even the B-boys and the B-girls that would dance to the get down part. That was their job.
Right.
The get down part would come on, the break beat, the B-girl, the break boys, the break girls,
Yes,
right?
sir.
The break comes, they dance.
Yes.
The graffiti, all that. How long between this and the first rapper? What was the amount of time in between this creation and the first rapper got on the microphone at a party?
The house of hip hop goes like this. Graffiti was already, people were already writing. DJ, breaker. I can tell you this, Ebro, until I invented this, there were no rappers. So we're talking years. Because they had no music bed to speak on. All the DJs at that time were not doing that. Or they were doing what I call disarray and unison style, where they would just play the record, and the next record would be sort of off beat. It would be totally impossible for an MC, rapper, to speak on this. So we're talking years. So they entered the house last, the house of hip hop. And I want to say years. So.
And it should be noted that there even today is a tug of war, if you will, between DJs and MCs still to this day in hip hop about what's more important when it comes to continuing the culture. So that's kind of like embedded in our fabric, if you will.
Okay. And hopefully that will change, but and being just like you are, I just want people to know
Free Flash that truly being a part of hip hop culture was always about using the best technology available.
absolutely. I'm like before I'm a DJ, I'm a scientist.
Exactly.
Put this one on, so there was a real serious issue with me being able to talk. I figured it out now, but back then, so what I did was I said I'm gonna go outside in the neighborhood park, and I'm gonna show people this technique, and I'm gonna play all these great beats, and they're gonna be losing their mind, and they're gonna be partying, and I got the exact opposite. I never forget, I went home, I was crying. I'm like, 3 years, why is it I'm playing this drum beat from this one and this one from that? Why aren't they jamming? People were pushing past the ropes, Ebro trying to figure out if it was some sort of magic trick or something that I was doing. So 2 things I did. I says, Mike, come on, man, you gotta learn this thing, man. I need somebody to help me promote this thing. And Mike was fair. My other original DJ partner, Disco B, he wasn't so fair. So what had happened, me and Mike parted ways. He became a fly kid and did all the wild things in the street that he was doing. I had to find a new DJ partner, and I met this guy by the name of Gene Livingston. He lived on 168th Street in Boston Road. And we combined our sound systems together. And he had the best mother in the whole entire world. Like Mama Livingston, like she allowed you to play music all time of the night. You can go and just don't play it too loud, and because I have to get my sleep and go to work. Oh, go boy, lay down on the couch. You ain't got to go home, because I was still in trying to perfect this. So she let me stay up all hours of the night. And me and Gene used to be a DJ crew. So I tried to teach Gene this. Gene's hands was 2 of my hands. So he couldn't understand it, but every time I used to go to the house, there was this little kid taking the tone arm and dropping the beat on the break by just dropping the tone arm. I'm like, I said, Gene, who's that? He says, that's my little brother. Now, Gene was always the one, if you see a circle and people fighting the whole thing, you push through the crowd, guess who's fighting? Gene, always in the fight. So I didn't want to get into no scraping him. You know, he was cool as a DJ partner. So when Gene used to go out, I grabbed a milk crate. I told his little brother, psst, psst, come here. And I used to put him on a milk crate, and I would do the thing, and he would emulate me. And we did this for months and months and months. I'm in fear to tell him, and his little brother figured it out. Then after a while, I said, Gene, listen, I'm getting ready to tell you something. You're probably gonna be real mad at me, but I said, Theodore, come here. His name was Theodore. He became my first successful prodigy, you know, and I don't think Gene was happy about it, but he made his own place in history behind it. And
wait, so Theodore knew how to needle drop as a kid?
He knew how to needle drop as a kid. And that's what I said, I have to teach him this next science. But I had to do it, sneak and do it. And he became like my first prodigy.
And what did Grand Wizard Theodore create?
He created, what he created is another rhythm to the quick mix theory. As Jeff and the people there, and then Qbert, like this thing here, what I'm trying to explain to people is this DJ science is the basics on everything hip hop. The DJ is everything.
So Theodore
he was rubbing it a certain way on the fader. Jeff does it a certain way on the fader. But the real fact of the matter is it's impossible to do it without doing this.
But Theodore, they credit with creating the scratch.
They credit him with creating the scratch, which is another sound to the technique. I agree. He created his own sound to the technique. And that's why I call it the quick mix theory. Because you can always add to the foundation of the science. So with him doing as far as what he was doing, and then other DJs is coming along, and Cash Money did this, and then Jeff did that, and then all the way to like people like Cuba,
Mixmaster Mike. Yeah.
These guys are like ridiculous on the turntable. So I remember, I gotta tell you, Ebro, people call me an idiot, disrespectful to vinyl, but it's really good to know there's millions of idiots just like me.
I think things worked out.
Yeah, no, it paid off.
I think things worked out. I would go with things worked out.
You think it worked out?
Yeah, I think it worked out all right. So where's the next step in this?
Well,
I know
also,
you wanted
Ebro,
to
can we
grab
see an
some-
example? Can we see an example of you queuing vinyl, 2 copies of a record? And
are we set, Fame? Is everything set up? We should be good to go. Let me see if we good to go. Let me just check everything. So, Mike, you ready? Okay, so now, I know you was asking me about what that is, but I'm sorry.
Laura's question: the first MC that you allowed to touch that mic with you was
Cowboy.
Okay.
Cowboy. He's the first. Okay, that one appears to be okay. Now, mind you, I'm gonna do this. Let me see.
Use the queuing system that you invented and check if it's working.
I need to make sure everything is good. Okay. Now,
what do we have here? Aerosmith?
Yeah, we're gonna start off real, and I'm gonna do this very, very basic, very, very simple. No extra, nothing. I'm gonna just do the basic, fundamental formula of the quick mix theory. 4 bars forward equals 6 counterclockwise revolutions equals full loop, the get down part or the break. So, as I was telling you earlier, the circular and the intersector. So, this first joint is 2 bars long. 1, 10, 2, then it goes into what we call the whack part. You know,
the song,
the actual song.
But maybe this song here is an exception to the rule. Maybe this one's probably an exception to the rule. You know, and then so since it's a 2-bar situation, I'm gonna have to spin this thing back. I'm gonna have to watch it pass the tone arm. The intersector, this is the whole key to the science. The intersector is the line that passes the tone arm.
So is it only 3 counterclockwise rotations because it's only 2 bars instead of 4 bars?
2 bars. So I'm counting 4 bars and it's 6.
So it's 2 to 3?
So the average song that's 2 bars is 3 counterclockwise revolutions.
That's math, guys. That's math, just know. And science.
And today's math.
And today's mathematics,
if you will.
So I'm gonna do this really basically, no extras, no nothing, just really super duper simple. Turn the volume up with the sound, please.
Volume up on the sound, please, guys.
Now I want you to count with me.
All right.
Count with me. Count with me. 2. Wait.
1, 2.
1, 2, 3.
Oh.
1,
2, 3. Watch the rotations.
1, 2, 3.
There you go.
The whack part?
Yeah, the whack part's alright on this one.
This one's okay. This one's okay.
Oh, okay.
Right? Now this one is going to be 6.
6 counterclockwise.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Boom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Woo! I know what that's
Stay
gonna
with
be.
me.
I know what
Stay
that's gonna
with me.
be. How did I
Now
know
when
it
you
when I saw that
stop,
capital?
Right, this is considered jazz. fuck that shit. This is hip hop here. You know, so we use pop, rock, jazz, blues, funk, disco, R&B, alternative, Caribbean, wherever that breakdown was. Stay with me. Watch the intersector. That's the key to the whole thing. I'm keeping it simple. Woo! They call it rock. Get the hell out of here. This ain't rock. Hip hop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The content Betty, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The constant bed.
Wasn't no rap before this. Just so y'all know, y'all was just doing poetry before that.
The big beat. Get us down.
Let him get on down.
This big beat.
Wait for this right here.
And then we went to funk from here.
Easy now.
Grandmaster Flash.
So tight.
Quick Mix Theory live.
1,
Clean. Still clean.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Works every time. So that's the thing about this theory.
Right.
It's the thing about math.
It's the thing about math. It's the same every time.
The count is 6. The count is 6. And this is the fundamentals to the theory.
Rosenberg, stop peeking. Stop peeking. Rosenberg over there
I
cheating.
was putting my fingertips on the record. Thank you, Brandon. Right? I'm keeping it really simple here. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now, you know, there's a lot of people out there that don't even know how to count bars.
Or count.
Or count, period. But but counting measures in a song is also complicated for some. So I think you also got to pay attention to that aspect of it, too.
You ready? Now this is 5. Seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll tell you why. Because it's on 45. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because it passes by the total on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because it's going faster.
It's going 45 instead of 33, so it changes it by one rotation, right?
Exactly. I'm keeping this really simple, and that's the exception to the rule.
Right.
Because it's 45.
Okay, DC, we here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Flash is still cleaner than the DJs using Serato, by the way. I just want you to know. Clean every time.
Thank you. So let's break it apart. This is some of the things that, you know, that we used to do.
beatbox.
Yeah.
Grandmaster Flash, give it up. Give it up.
Crazy.
All right, so wait. What year did you bring out the beatbox?
When was that, Mike? 70 what? 74.
1974, 75.
Yeah.
And how was the beatbox created? Which is why, if you go back, you had people calling themselves the human beatbox, right? How did this come about?
Okay, what it was is, it was very competitive back then. So we four, whether it was Breakout or whether it was Herc or whether it was Bam or whether it was Flash, we always try to come up with either that great beat, Ebro, or just something innovative. So there was this guy who lived in the Jackson Projects on 149th Street in Jackson Avenue. He was a drummer, and he used to use this to practice with, and I always stayed in touch with him. I said, if you ever wanted to get rid of it, I will buy it off you. The time came, and he says, Flash, it's for sale, and I paid $150 for it. This is, I've had this inside of a bank vault at Chase for probably a good 30 years. I'm very careful with it. I'm extremely careful with it.
Have you seen another one?
I have. The last time I seen this, last time I heard that this was used for any recording was the Beatles. It was the last time I heard that this machine was used. So I want to make this really clear to you guys. There is no play button. There is no record button. You must play this.
And the sounds are set? These sounds are all permanently set on
They're
here?
all permanently set.
Okay.
The circuitry is probably the cheapest on the planet now because it's so old. This box came out, and from what I understand, like 63, 64.
Okay.
But I got it in the early 70s. So when I jumped off the turntables, I used to jump on this. So this was added to the flyer, Grandmaster Flash and the Amazing Beatbox. But then it disappeared for decades because, I was no longer using it. And then kids started doing it with their mouth. So let's go through it again.
Would one day, would you want this to be like in the American History Museum?
I've been asked.
Okay.
Not yet, though. So
No, not yet. There's still time.
There's still time. Yeah, I'm still here. So
You're still here.
So I had to do research on the tone arm and the cartridge. I forgot that. It's magnetic, 2 classifications, magnetic and ceramic. Magnetic is the better one. The wafer, the peekaboo system.
We're still on belt drive turntables, by the way. Is that correct?
Yes.
You were still rocking out on belt drives.
SL23. So for me, and of course, this was the key to how I did all this, because once I found out all the mechanical parts of it, now I had to mark it, because sometimes we're in dark areas, and I'm not trying to do that. I need one time to search for it, get in the neighborhood, which is the circular, get in the neighborhood, and then get to the front door by watching the intersector. And as the intersector passed the tone arm, I mathematically went in reverse. And that's how I was able to re-arrive to the top of the break. And that's why I say this particular formula, Ebro and Rosenberg and Laura, is we DJs, we play it like an instrument. If you watch a turntablist, he is strictly playing the turntable like an instrument. And because we had no technology, and the bed was dude right here, people all the time. So how do I sit there and tell you these things and you be cool with me? So I want y'all to still be cool with me, because I just was a geek and I was not totally happy with what I was listening to in the 70s. So these things, and I wanted to do it here first, like I told you when I seen you, E, because first is forever. And when it comes to hip hop, you guys was here first. I felt it was really important before I go anywhere and do this, I had to do it here first.
Thank you very much.
What an honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Grandmaster Flash. Grandmaster Flash.
What you're hearing right now is Styles P, is Talib Kweli explain to us, why we can't have Styles P today, because there's a Talib Kweli Styles P album.
You can.
But Kwa left the phone on the bus or lost the phone?
It's probably on the bus. We was in Philly last night, man. We had a good night at Philadelphia, and my phone is probably in between some cushions somewhere. There was a lot of whiskey involved.
Are you whiskey drinking?
I am.
What do you? I mean, I'm not a whiskey drinker, but I'll definitely partake. Is there something you should suggest to people like myself who want to learn more about whiskey?
I mean, Scotch whiskey is for the gentleman of leisure like yourself.
That's
you
right.
know what I'm saying? Like some Lagavulin, you know what I'm saying? Something from Scotland.
Okay.
But if you just like at the club, you get some like Tennessee or. You know what I'm saying? Some Jameson, it's Irish whiskey, or some Jack Daniels, Tennessee
Johnny
whiskey.
Walker Black, is that whiskey?
Yeah, that's from Kentucky, right, Johnny Walker?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's from
Do you
Kentucky.
do the Japanese whiskey?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Oh, Yamazaki. I know that.
Yamazaki.
Remember we had that when we
yo,
were in
wow,
Japan?
we was in Japan together.
That's right, for the Hot 97.
Uh-huh.
You was there for Hot 97.
Yeah,
I was
you
there
was
with
there
Lauryn
for
Hill.
BB King.
Yeah.
No, not BB King's, Blue Note.
Yeah, I was there for Blue Note, that's right. You came to did you come to Blue Note?
Yeah, you almost got me arrested in Japan.
That's right.
Why? How did that happen?
You're not supposed to smoke weed in Japan. Ask me if that stops Talib Kweli.
Nah, shout out to
Absolutely
Donna.
not.
Donna did a month hard time in Japan.
For after that night.
Before that night, the year before.
No.
So we're backstage at Blue Note, which the Blue Note in Japan, let me tell you something, is immaculate. It's a beautiful facility. And Japan has so many beautiful things, Tokyo. Go backstage, Kweli's like, yo, I got some weed. I was like, why do you have weed in Japan? That's not what you should be doing.
My mom is listening to nothing. Like,
so then he's like, nah, we just go out here to the staircase and smoke.
Okay.
I'm like, in the staircase? And it's outside, so I'm thinking, okay, it'll, maybe. While security came to the back door, we stashing blunts, tucking it away, and the people at Blue Note were very nice.
They were. Shout out to Blue Note Tokyo.
Yeah,
I just did Blue Note Beijing. Shout out to my man. First of all, shout out to my man John Cave. My crew's called Whiskey Boys. We lost our guitar player. John Cave passed away on Monday.
Oh, wow.
I was at Blue Note in Beijing for Christmas, and that man was with me, and he spent time away from his family for Christmas. When I went down to Ferguson, he was there with his guitar for the free concerts. So rest in peace to John Cave. Went to his funeral last night. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole Whiskey Boys crew. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. We about that whiskey.
So, so we're gonna get political, Kweli, because on his social media, if you follow him, he's going at anyone and everyone who want it or don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Shout out to the Ghost Styles P. I'm sorry I lost my phone. I'm supposed to give you the wake up
DM
call.
him right now. Try to get him on the phone. But Kwa, this album with you and Styles P. How did this come together?
Well, me and Styles, we got a good creative repertoire. You know what I'm saying? We got a good energy together. We've done a lot of records. Shout out to Static Selector. Shout out to High Tech. We've done a lot of little.
A special bit of technology that gives you such superior speed that you're literally able to blow the doors off the competition at will. The term was coined by the late Mark Donoghue, who enjoyed such an advantage in his turbocharged Porsche 917 that dominated Can-Am racing and set new speed records in the early 1970s. The engineering genius behind this awesome 917 was Dr. Ferdinand Piëch, the grandson and namesake of Dr. Ferdinand Porsche. Shortly after achieving such great success with his 917, Dr. Piëch left the ranks of Porsche and joined another German car builder, Audi. His first challenge to his new engineers: come up with a breakthrough idea, an unfair advantage that will set Audi apart from the pack. To find such an advantage, Dr. PX engineers look not to the future, but to the past, to a concept nearly as old as the automobile itself: all-wheel drive. The idea first appeared in 1902, but the hardware proved so cumbersome it found a home only in inelegant utility vehicles. Over the years, innovators such as Bugatti, Miller, and Ferguson tried to apply the idea to racing cars, but their machines proved unruly, difficult to drive. The advantage eluded them. Then in 1967, the idea resurfaced at Indianapolis when Andy Granatelli introduced a radical turbine-powered all-wheel drive machine. And driver Parnelli Jones came within 7 miles of winning the 500 before the failure of a trivial part sidelined him. All-wheel drive was soon banned from Indy competition as being outside the mainstream of automotive design, and racing engineers turned instead to aerodynamics in their quest for the unfair advantage. In 1981, Audi engineers felt they had found the secret at last: a center differential, a new way of distributing the power between the front and rear wheels. They call their system Quattro. To prove the worth of their new system, they entered the World Rally Championship, where a vehicle must demonstrate speed over some of the roughest, slipperiest roads in the world. If all-wheel drive were to be an advantage, it would be here. Soon the Quattros were showing their heels to the competition. Driver Walter Rural describes the experience.
So it's like an explosion. Maybe, let's say, like a rocket taking off. That's how you could imagine it. It's really nothing like ordinary acceleration. Sit back and enjoy Walter Rural's balancing act, driving at the limit of physics. Basically, with these cars, if you start thinking, you're too slow. What you need is a kind of sixth sense. You have to be one step ahead the whole time. With this car, if you wait till something happens, then it's too late. You have to anticipate. And all this talk you used to hear about driving by the seat of your pants, if that's how you feel what the car is doing, then it's probably the last time you'll ever feel anything, because if you wait that long, you'll go off the road.
All-wheel drive also required a different driving technique: left foot braking to turn the car, as Walker Roll demonstrates here. The competition as being outside the mainstream of automotive design, and racing engineers turned instead to aerodynamics in their quest for the unfair advantage. In 1981, Audi engineers felt they had found the secret at last: a center differential, a new way of distributing the power between the front and rear wheels. They call their system Quattro. To prove the worth of their new system, they entered the World Rally Championship, where a vehicle must demonstrate speed over some of the roughest, slipperiest roads in the world. If all-wheel drive were to be an advantage, it would be here. Soon the Quattros were showing their heels to the competition. Driver Walter Rural describes the experience.
So it's like an explosion. Maybe, let's say, like a rocket taking off. That's how you could imagine it. It's really nothing like ordinary acceleration. Sit back and enjoy Walter Rural's balancing act, driving at the limit of physics. Basically, with these cars, if you start thinking, you're too slow. What you need is a kind of sixth sense. You have to be one step ahead the whole time. With this car, if you wait till something happens, then it's too late. You have to anticipate. And all this talk you used to hear about driving by the seat of your pants, if that's how you feel what the car is doing, then it's probably the last time you'll ever feel anything, because if you wait that long, you'll go off the road.
All-wheel drive also required a different driving technique: left foot braking to turn the car, as Walker Rural demonstrates here. set the fastest time on the stage. With 4 World Rally Championships in the record book, the Quattro turned toward America. The target, the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, an event dominated by single-purpose, single-seat sprinters with rear-wheel drive. American rally champion John Buffum was first to try the Quattro here.
The Audi four-wheel drive, very, very important, because when you have a lot of horsepower, you need to get the horsepower to the ground. And you'll see as the open-wheel cars and even the stock cars, when they start, they spin their wheels furious. And this is very exciting, but it doesn't get you to the top as fast.
1985, French rally champion Michel Mouton drives a Quattro to overall victory at Pikes Peak, trouncing over 60 conventional machines in the process.
You are always sliding one side, the other side. It's like a ballet, it's like a dance, you know, it's fantastic.
I looked at the car and I watched her run. Did a very good job in her driving. The car was very, very, very much ahead of anything that I'd ever seen before. Audi has done an awful lot of work on all-wheel drive, and I saw things that just astounded me. And I started doing a lot of thinking, a lot of talking, a lot of studying, and trying to see the best way to come back and get the record back in the Alternate.
I've seen him every time he's done this, and the record that was set in '85. Most of the people around here thought, well, that's about it. It's as fast as anybody's going to go. Evidently, this car is even impresses him, and he's hard to impress.
In 1986, Unser tries the Quattro for himself and sets the fastest time ever in the race to the clouds. Walter Rural followed a year later with another record. And since then, every Pikes Peak winner has turned to all-wheel drive for their advantage. Next, putting the power to pavement. All-wheel drive had proven an advantage on dirt, but would it work on pavement? The high-banked Talladega Speedway. In a secret test, Bobby Unser makes an attempt at a world closed-course speed record in a specially prepared Quattro. Despite the aerodynamic disadvantage of the boxy four-door sedan, he breaks 200 miles per hour and sets 10 new international speed records. Confident that they had an advantage here as well, the engineers decide to enter a production-based Quattro in the 1988 Sports Car Club of America Trans Am Series. It was also the first time that team drivers Hurley Haywood and Hans Stuck had tried racing an all-wheel drive machine.
My competitors found that we were going to be racing an Audi, and they took a look at the car the first time. They kind of laughed and said, "You got to be kidding. This is a car that we race that looks very much like the sedan that people can buy in the showrooms."
Everything was new to me, and I thought to myself, oh, is that the right thing I might have towards the end of my career with 37? Nevertheless, we didn't know where we are till we came to the first practice in Long Beach.
The first race, the streets of Long Beach. Let's ride with Hans Stuck as he makes his qualifying run. The 5-cylinder turbocharged Quattro is no match for the more powerful V8s on the straightaways. Its advantage comes in the tight turns.
I had to adjust my style of driving because Trans Am drivers are hard drivers, tough drivers. They don't look very often in the mirror. If you come from behind, especially with a car like the Audi, you can brake very late, that they don't expect you to come so close to brake so late.
Was good for 4th starting position. In the race, Haywood surprises everyone with a second-place finish. Still, most experts regarded this as beginner's luck. Then on the twisty Dallas street circuit, as track conditions begin to deteriorate, and others were slipping and sliding, Haywood uses his superior traction to record the first victory for an all-wheel drive system in such a major production car race.
The track was very slippery during the race, and I just cruised around the car because of the all-wheel drive system. I could put it any place on the racetrack and get away with doing just about anything that if you tried it in a conventional car, you would have crashed.
He follows with another victory on the streets of Detroit, taking the lead on the very last lap. Then at Niagara Falls, rally champion Walter Rural tries his hand at road racing and runs away from the field, making it 3 victories in the first 5 races. Meanwhile, Hans Stuck, one of the fastest men in the world in a rear-wheel drive race car, was still struggling to come to grips with the all-wheel drive system.
Sooner or later, I thought I have to win a race. Audi is paying me a lot of money, so I look like a fool. I got to win a race now.
Suddenly, he figured it all out and went on a tear. First place Cleveland. First place Brainerd. A victory at the Meadowlands. His secret?
It's a left foot braking. You have this turbo lag, you know. When you go off the throttle and you go back on again, it takes a little while before the turbine builds up some pressure. So on these sort of chicanes where you don't have to shift down, I go on the brake with the left foot and stay on the throttle with the right foot. So I still have my boost pressure. And then when I leave the brake off, the car moves forward like a skyrocket. That's what it's all about.
Mid-Ohio. Rain. Ideal conditions for all-wheel drive.
And Sunday morning when I got up at about 7 o'clock, I saw the rain and said, oh, Christ, that's what we need.
With the others struggling to just stay on the rain-slicked track, Stuck enjoys a Sunday drive.
It just has always the feet on the ground, fantastic traction, fantastic cornering, very, very good. And with the four-wheeler, you know, it was the experience of all my life. We always had good traction. We could go over the hill with all the cars sliding with the power on. So just great fun.
By now, the competition was beginning to feel that the Quattros were enjoying a bit too much of an advantage. They accused the team of sandbagging, holding back in practice, not showing their true speed, then turning it on late in the race. The other teams lobby for a rule change.
We need all the help we can get to keep our Goodyear tires under our cars. We don't have the advantage of the all-wheel drive Audis.
We can't go head-to-head with the Audi or the V6s because of our added weight.
There's no way that we can run at the end of the race with the Audis. I expect Hans to show us his heels here very soon.
The Sports Car Club of America officials agree and decide something must be done to negate the all-wheel drive advantage. They handicap the Quattros with additional weight, smaller tires, and a reduced turbo inlet. But Stuck isn't phased.
Beat Audi, they can give us as many weight as they want, and they can restrict our tires. As long as we can run a four-wheel drive car, we'll be looking very good.
Even with the handicaps, the Quattros prevail, and by season's end, Audi had won the Manufacturers' Championship, and the hard-charging Stuck captured 4 first places. His strategy?
My driving strategy is to go always 100%, or as close as possible. If I sit in a race car, I adjust my mind and I want to go for it. Oh, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good, but if I'm as a professional racing driver, you have to be like this.
It was the steady Haywood, however, who brought home the driver's title. His strategy was a bit different.
Championships are points game, and you have to get the points at each race. You have to protect your trouble with the slower traffic. And I found that it was very beneficial for me to make my move in the latter part of the race, protect my car, keep it in good condition, and then make a charge in the latter part of the stages. My 2 teammates, Hans and Walter, would do the charging for me, and then in many cases they wore the competition out.
But to Trans Am officials, the Quattros' advantage seemed just a little too unfair. they aren't invited back for next year. Coming up next, the IMSA GTO. In 1989, the Quattros enter the IMSA GTO Championship Series, where the rules are different. The cars are allowed wider tires, wide enough so that the others may have all the traction they need with just two-wheel drive. IMSA officials feel confident the all-wheel drive Audis won't enjoy an unfair advantage here. But the Audi engineers have no intention of giving up their edge and build a pair of exotic tube-frame cars complete with a space-age telemetry system to monitor every aspect of their performance.
We were all pretty much excited because, as you know, we have had a new car, a tube frame chassis, a new engine, a 4-valve engine, and then in the first official practice session when we were almost holding off the pace, and we were right there. You could hear the stones falling down from our heart. We were happy and pleased that the car is right with the pace.
They debut on the streets of Miami. Despite strong competition from other high-tech factory teams, the all-wheel drive Quattros again appear to have the upper hand, impressing veteran ESPN commentator Bill Adam in the process.
This car is doing things I have never, ever seen any vehicle do. Look at this. Pulls to the inside, late braking. Look at the car. Completely stable under braking. No problem at all. On a rail. Doing things I have never, ever seen any vehicle do. Look at this. Pulls to the inside, late braking. Look at the car. Completely stable under braking. No problem at all. On a rail.
But racing luck turns against the team. Both cars are forced out of the race. The team must regroup.
We didn't finish Miami because our gearbox broke. We found that we had too much horsepower for our gearbox and drive shafts. And then I must say, from Miami to the next race to Summit Point, there was only about 9 weeks in between, but what the Audi crew was able to achieve in these 9 weeks was the maximum I've ever seen in my 20 years of racing. They were working so bloody hard, day and night. I doubted actually when I came to Summit Point, we're going to run longer than 1 hour.
Summit Point. The Quattros not only run for an hour, they go the distance, finishing first and second.
It was a tough competition. I was very, very pleased to win the second race for the Audi in 89. After Summit Point, we went straight to Mid-Ohio, believe it or not, another win, which was a little bit of a problem with my friend Wally Dallenbach, because I had him off the track, which I do very, very a few times in my life, in my whole racing career. But I had to. We were actually traveling both along side by side, and I saw a small car almost stopping on the left side of the track, and I had to move to the right, and I just knocked Wally off. And I saw him spinning on 120 mile speed and banging right and left. I said, oh, Jesus Christ, what have I done now? And I was lucky to win the race in the end, and on the podium, I apologized immediately to Wally. But I think still up to now, he owes me one.
But Stuck has things pretty much his own way, running up a string of victories at Topeka, Sears Point, Watkins Glen, Lime Rock, and Laguna Seca. And in some races, like Sears Point, his toughest competition turned out to be his all-wheel drive teammate, Hurley Haywood.
I was something like 30 seconds behind my leading teammate, Hurley Haywood. And believe me, I had to take all the tricks I knew to get him back. And I got him 2 laps from the end in a very strong maneuver.
By now, Stuck had clearly become comfortable with the car, adjusting his own flamboyant driving style to the all-wheel drive system.
To adopt my driving style to all-wheel drive suspension in cars was not so easy, because my style always was a little bit spectacular, like going sideways and people saying he has more flies and bugs on the doors than he has on the windscreen by driving so much sideways. And it also helped me in my sports car driving. I got smoother and more, not so aggressive and not so how can I say, not so a twitchy driving style, and improved everything. It teaches you to drive a car smoother.
His secret of speed?
I tell you gotta have a sensor in a certain place of your body which is behind yourself. You know what I mean? And this sensor which you must have in the popo, as we say in Germany, I think this is the most important thing. To go fast, to feel the car sliding. That's why I have no upholstery in my driving seat. If you ever check this out, I only have a little layer of some cotton or whatever it is, so it's an Nomex stuff. I don't want to have some upholstery in the seat because I have not enough contact then. This is, I think, so you must feel it with your back when the car starts to slide and everything. And this sensor is specially working under wet conditions.
Wet conditions. Rain. Conditions that can strike fear into the bravest of drivers. Quattro drivers Stuck and Haywood took a somewhat different view.
It is the nicest feeling. It is nicer than Christmas, holiday, birthday, and New Year, everything together, to pass a Cougar or a Nissan on the outside of the corner. It's such a great feeling, you won't believe.
It's so much fun driving these cars, and when you can pass guys on the outside or the inside, it really doesn't make any difference, and go by them with such speed that we have, it's tremendous fun.
Next, how the advantage paid off.
At GMC Truck, we make fuel economy a priority before a single truck is built. And our 1991 Sierra proves it. With four-wheel drive, get 16 city and 19 highway. And with two-wheel drive models, get an amazing 17 city and 22 highway. GMC Truck. It's not just a truck anymore. It's quality on the road.
I am the soldier.
Drive had, without a doubt, proven itself to be an unfair advantage under all conditions, outrunning the competition across the parched deserts of Africa, up the ice-covered Alps, through the tight, twisty streets of Dallas, and around the high-speed curves of Laguna Seca. Yet on any given day, the Quattros rarely excelled at raw speed. Their secret was different. Others were able to go out and set a blistering pace in the beginning. The tracks usually get slippery as the race progresses. Tires lose their grip. And when conventional cars were forced to slow down, the Quattros, with their consistently superior traction, went on the attack. When the going got slippery, the Quattros didn't fade. This proved to be their unfair advantage, their secret of speed.
People can go fast in a race car for one lap, and they can beat the race car and use the curbs and bounce off of things. And as they wear themselves down, I just simply attack. And you can do it so easily and so effortlessly, and they just don't know what hit them.
And we could spray our power over 4 different corners, you know. So our tires in the end lasted longer, and when the conditions got worse with oil and grease and some debris on the track, we had a better traction on our car. This gave us an advantage.
Faster and faster cars, combined with wilder and crazier crowds, meant that in the confines of World Rally Championship competition, the Group B rocket ships were just too fast to race. Thankfully, there are people who are determined that these cars are not going to become just memories recorded on film or in the pages of books and magazines. Members of the British-based Group B Car Club are dedicated to keeping them in flat-out action. They are out, flat out, on any piece of dirt or tarmac which happens to be available on any given weekend. Thanks to the club, owners and enthusiasts for this greatest ever era of rallying can still enjoy these supercars being driven as they were meant to be driven before the international competition ban came into force. Battling the elements in often lonely and usually spectacular scenery has always added a romantic and adventurous theme to rallying. It just can't be reproduced by modern track racing on closed circuits. Today, rallies are as close as you can get to those incredible city-to-city events in which cars raced across Europe just after the start of the 20th century. Or the Mille Miglia, which used to roar for 1,000 miles around Italy, until it was banned when crowd control became impossible and fatalities resulted in 1957. Ironically, although rallies are generally being staged far away from centres of population, crowd enthusiasm during the Group B era became so great that the same problems beset the World Rally Championship. There were crowd fatalities, and the sport came close to being banned completely. Only the commitment to cut the performance of the cars by banning Group B saved the sport as we know it. Even so, rallying will never see a return to these relaxed and sporting days when the main aim was to cross Europe at some predetermined average speed. There were a few driving tests along the way, and then it was time to enjoy yourself at some exotic destination like Monte Carlo. Not that the sport wasn't demanding enough in the 1950s. Neither the roads nor the cars were anything like as good as those of today. Just getting a car from London to Monte Carlo at any kind of speed was an achievement in itself, especially when it involved crossing alpine passes 10,000 feet high with cars whose power which rarely exceeded 60 or 70 horsepower. By the 1960s, even small cars were getting sportier and manufacturer interest was growing by leaps and bounds. Rallying was no longer just the domain of the sports car or the large capacity sports saloon. Major manufacturers like the British Motor Corporation were viewing rallies as a way to effectively publicise both the stamina and the speed of even their most humble models. The legendary Mini, for example, achieved much of its eventual cult status by running rings around bigger and clumsier cars in classic events such as the Monte Carlo Rally. Typical rally terrain was still very different from that which we know today. The long and demanding road sections were still the core of any major event, even though many were by now including special stages on mountain climbs or forest roads closed off to regular traffic. Drivers obviously had to be fast and skillful to keep up high overall averages on public roads, often in adverse conditions. As well as speed, however, regularity and reliability, plus map reading and navigational skills, played an equally important part. The current essence of flat-out timed competition in cars prepared purely for that purpose was only just...
August, you fun. All this like a blonde teen that always want to appear late for fucking prom.
That convergence on point just now.
As you can. Allow my soldiers die because of you.
What wanna play?
We playing assassin game on League.
Oh. Bleh.
God want to destroy something.
My nigga rolling epic. How's Omar?
I want to this my back again, you can.
User left your channel.
Chicken.
Jump away, Bush. Me kicking him out.
Okay, the pressure's on. Focus on the light. We can do this. Nail him into the first corner.
For you, hear you.
That's it.
For you, stop.
Just off of that.
Kelly. Rest of the day.
Mario.
Don't marry me. I could play dickhead. I did this thing that he would have tried to run me bank. Dale, yeah.
Kills you, Mario.
Warm up, see it. Jump off an bird.
Okay, mate, you're on its tail. Let's try and nail it on this lap. Force and error.
That's
Nothing big pressure. You can take it.
Made that pretty
Come on, this guy's just in our way. Let's fight our way past.
Perdão. Yours? You look at that. You should have capped it for you all glass. You shaky.
I don't play Echo. I want Demons.
Sorry, somebody say yo. He's a discourse of Apple Unix. You can't, man. Yeah, can boy, you treat me here, okay? Warhol.
Do a practice echo though. Big one more.
Open door. Nada. Coming in for African or Wales out there.
Yeah. Name it box.
Or get as much.
Yep. Bang got one for Mark. Shit, fish dirty, I love it.
I got charges, my boy. Like cutting.
Mossy belly cutting. I can run one for
User joined your channel.